have students come in from around the country for this 2-year doctoral program, and I'm helping them fill out a curriculum that will view law and policy through different issues. So in this instance, they were allowed me to bring the students into the Carolinas and take a look at this very important issue. And the idea is to see how these leaders took this notion of civil rights and pushed it into the legislative and judicial arenas. So this is an experiential learning process where they'll actually get to meet the people that were very much involved.
There had never been a person of color elected to the South Carolina General Assembly. Many had attempted all across the state, in Richland County, in Charleston County, and in other communities, but none had been successful. But one thing they had done was to build a foundation, because each 2 years, we elected members of the House every 2 years, and the senators every 4 years, and every 2 years, an African American would strive to get elected to the House of Representatives. And each year, their efforts constituted a building block.
And knowing that we had a population, a substantial part of our population, that felt like the flag didn't represent them. And our view was all these things taking place, that maybe it's time to lay it all on the line and resolve that issue. Now, the interesting thing was all my political advisors saying, look, you're the Republican governor, you don't need to take the lead on this issue. And in fact, why don't you wait till after your re-election? My poll numbers were out of the roof. Things were great. No way anyone could beat me. Wait till after the election. Well, my mama taught me a little bit differently. She was one of those that spoke what she thought, no matter when it was or where it was or how it was, and that's just how Mom raised me. Don't worry about the consequences. You do what's right, everything else will work out. Well, brought the staff in and went through, and I said, are we gonna do this? And they were giving us the right thing to do, but should we wait? And I said, no, we shouldn't wait.
There's a map, there's a huge map on a wall up the Department of Justice, and there are little pins, color-coded pins stuck in there. And there were pins all over the United States, almost in every municipality, certainly every county, and certainly every state across the United States, except South Carolina. And I said, what are these pins, and why don't we have a pin? I thought we were being deprived of something. And he said, well, those are criminal civil rights cases that have been brought around the country. And I said, well, why don't we have any? He said, well, there's never been a criminal civil rights prosecution in South Carolina brought by the U.S. Attorney's Office. We went about changing that. The only criminal prosecution prior to our time in the U.S. Attorney's Office that had ever been brought in South Carolina was brought by the Department of Justice, and it related to the Orangeburg massacre down in Orangeburg, and so students were killed. So that put us on a path, and it woke me up that we needed to be very strong in enforcing civil rights, both on the criminal side and the civil side.
Where do we go from here? We look at part of South Carolina history. I have an opportunity to look in the face of South Carolina. Strom Thurmond, Senator Strom Thurmond, that shaped the history, his son is now my roommate over in the South Carolina Senate. We talk about it. The question is that now, where do we go? It's going to depend on all of us. And what's going to happen is this, is we see the messages that we've heard today from our former governor and from Mr. Johnson and others. You know, it's going to take people walking together. And we got to end up addressing the problems and having a real life conversation.